Alright, in case you haven't heard, the popular browser extension tool Honey has been identified as a scam by a fantastic video by Megalag. For more on this, let's look under the hood and follow the money.
By now, you've probably heard about Honey. You know, the browser extension that saves you money.
Do you have Honey installed?
What's Honey?
Oh, no.
Honey.
Honey is a free browser extension.
Free browser extension.
Free browser extension.
Free browser extension.
That automatically applies coupon codes when you check out online.
Free money.
Honey is a scam, and the majority of claims promoted by those influencers aren't even remotely true.
Megalab's research revealed two major problems with Honey. First, Honey was withholding better coupons from customers. In a podcast interview, one of Honey's pitches to merchants was that they would be able to select which coupon codes the customers would be able to see, which kind of removes the initial purpose Honey served by scouring the internet for discount codes. And the second problem was hijacking affiliate commissions from creators who would otherwise have made money on the sale. But the service really wasn't always this bad. I remember as a user in the early days being wildly surprised by its ability to find discount codes. And I think that's where we start to figure out what went wrong here. Because what if I told you that Honey, despite these shady practices, has actually been losing money in recent years? You see, Honey was acquired by PayPal back in January of 2020. And we can see that interest in the application has faded over time. I mean, if we look at interest in the application since the acquisition at the beginning of 2020, it's gone down pretty substantially. We've seen a recent rise in the search term, but that's probably not for a great reason. But what's perhaps more interesting is that we can see PayPal's interest, at least how much they mention them in their SEC filings, has also dropped precipitously. We can see when the announcement was made 20 November 19, you had 28 mentions. That makes sense, that's when they're announcing the purchase. And then you can see that they're being talked about during quarterly reports, annual reports, various different technology summits, 11 times in a quarterly report, some strategic meetings, and that continues all throughout 2020. Look at all these mentions that we saw in 2020. And then 2021, we still had a good bit of mentions, 24 times in their annual report from 2020, 8 times in their Q1 from 2021. But then it starts to slow down, where in Q3, there was only 7 mentions. The entire fiscal year of 2021, 8 mentions. 6 mentions in 2022 and only 2 mentions in 2023. And then none of the quarterly proxies from this year have any mention of Honey. So it seems like the app has become almost forgotten amongst the broader ecosystem of PayPal's applications. And when the general managers of subsidiaries become forgotten in corporate structures, they get viewed for one reason: contributing as much to revenue as possible without any regard for customer experience. We see this time and time again in business. So this begs the question, why on earth did PayPal acquire Honey in the first place? Well, I actually think the answer is pretty stupid. Here's what the CEO said when he announced the acquisition. He said, "And the combination represents a very exciting development for PayPal. It enables a large step forward in our commitment to provide powerful services and tools for merchants and consumers, move beyond our core checkout proposition, and significantly enhance the commerce experience for our 300 million total customers." Which then he brags about having a $300 million customer, which Honey only had 17 million at that time, so kind of seems like a weird place to brag. And we have a term for that. You know what we call that in flank investing? We call that yoga babble bullshit. If you're not sure what yoga babble bullshit is, it's basically when a CEO starts dissembling and speaking really aspirationally without any substance. We have a whole section on it in our course that teaches you how to pick stocks exactly like Warren Buffett, and it's covered in our Is the Business Growing section of the course. So it all seems like the PayPal CEO purchased Honey because they were excited to get into the customer side of things and not just sit in the merchant side of things. And they didn't have a great plan for how it would fit into their overall suite of products. So it kind of became a forgotten business unit. And forgotten business units throw away customer experience. So PayPal obviously had a big faux pas on this. But I also think there are 2 other key takeaways that can help you in your career. First, and fairly obviously, if you don't pay for a product, you must understand that you are the product. This is true time and time again. If you don't know how you're paying for something, you can probably bet that the company or the service is taking advantage of you. Some of the biggest influencers got scammed, but there's one that didn't. And that's because he didn't understand how the company made money. Seriously, huge shout out to Markiplier for not getting caught on that. And then the second problem is that most CEOs don't know how to do acquisitions. Here's Buffett.
Charlie made a very good point there about how managers
could do better if they understood investments. I find it absolutely fascinating, and I've seen this throughout my life. I've seen it close up. I will have friends who are CEOs of companies, and they'll have somebody else handle their money. If you say to them, should you buy Coca-Cola or Gillette or something like that, they'll say, that's much too tough. I don't understand that sort of thing. What do I know about investing? And then some investment banker will walk in the next day with the idea they buy a $3 billion company, which is just buying a lot of shares of stock of one company. And they'll run through some little 2-hour presentation and turn it over to a strategic planning group and think that they are then the ones that should make that decision as to whether to buy multi-billion-dollar businesses when they really don't feel they're qualified to make $10,000 decisions with their own money. And it's extraordinary what you see in corporate America in the acquisition activity. It's a little like they say about making sausage and making laws. It's better unobserved.
So like you said, most CEOs don't actually know how to do M&A. And I think that these poorly managed acquisitions have been the cause of a lot of death for companies that were beloved by customers. Like Honey, I remember getting recommended from a ton of people to use the service, and I really liked it. And that's one of the key ideas with Flank. We just released a video where I covered how I made over $1 million in my day job last year in 2024. And the key idea of that video was that I'm a better investor because I'm a business person, and I'm a better business person because I'm an investor. And I'll carry that ability to know how to invest and allocate capital all the way through my career. If you want to get started on your journey to become an intelligent investor, I highly recommend you come check out flankinvesting.com. And since you're here with us so early in our journey, we're offering 60% off for life for our customers who sign up with us now. There'll be more details about it in the description below, and I really hope to see you there. There's also a link to our free Discord community in there as well, if you just want to see what we're more about. Thanks again so much for watching. You'll see on the screen now that last video I just mentioned. If you want to check it out, the algorithm really does like it. Please remember to like and subscribe. That'll also help us get this content out to more people. We'll see you in the next one.